the Executive Director of UN Habitat, the distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sarah Nandudu. I am the National Coordinator of the National Slum Dwellers Federation of Uganda. We are affiliated to Slum Dwellers International, which is a global network of the people who stay in informal settlements or call them slums. Many of us do not want to hear the word slums, but the reality is they are slums. We prefer a soft language of informal settlements. However, we belong to SDI, which is Slum Dwellers International. I'm very, very happy and excited to be invited as the people who stay in informal settlements, most specifically in the slums, to come and share our ideas on what we think is happening and what we think should be happening. Very grateful to UN Habitat through the leadership of Mama for accepting and recognizing that informal settlers or urban dwellers do have a voice to speak, but also have a bit of solutions to what is happening around the globe. Very excited to hear from different speakers who spoke here. And to me, the language is the same. We speak the same language. We speak same problems, but it seems the gap is around the innovations to intervene the challenging issues that we go around in cities. Today we are talking about housing the world. And of course, the main focus we are looking at is the safe, resilient, and communities. But are we really speaking the same language when we speak of what is being guided on here? Those are questions that all of us should be able to say. As SDI, or as Slum Dwellers International and the rest of the grassroots people, we want to say we have mobilized ourselves. We have collected data, community-led data. We have engaged different stakeholders. We have engaged governments. We have solutions to some of the problems. However, we are challenged with lots of challenges, such as policies that do not favor communities. You find that here we come and declare a lot of policies. We are all shouting community involvement, community participations, but when we go back home, the reverse is true. We have had countries where evictions are a big challenge to informal dwellers or slum dwellers. But yet we are saying resilient cities. We are talking of including communities. But back home it is a different story. We are yet to hear a lot more for us to engage with different partners, especially governments, to find solutions to housing, especially in slum communities. Because it looks like in slum communities, the solution is eviction. I have not heard anyone speak here about eviction, but it's what is happening back home. My only thinking and our own suggestion here is, let us sit together, let us plan together, let us engage one another for practical solutions to housing, because you can never build a house in planet Air. You can only build a house on land, but yet land has become for big gangs in cities. I don't know whether those are inclusive cities, but I think to be exclusive cities, because now a poor person can't afford a city, which shouldn't be the case. So what are we trying to say as grassroots people? We are saying, please work with communities. Please put proper policies that are pro-people, policies that support inclusive engagements, policies that support inclusive development, policies that are pro-poor. Yes, We are not saying we do not want policies. We are very much abide by with policies, but can we have policies that are supporting me to stay in the city and have a right to the city? The fact that I'm staying in the slum, there is a reason why I left my home country to come to the city. Therefore, let us work together with government and different agencies to allow us participate and be part and parcel of the cities. But also we request that we recognize the initiatives that communities have already engaged in. We have lots of community-led data that is already packed that we can use to implement solutions in slum communities. We have a lot of information on housing. We have a lot of information on how people stay in these settlements. We are only waiting for partners who are ready to come and work with us. But above all, we want to say that we open channels of financial flow to the marginalized communities, finances that can be accessible by a poor person but can be able to afford a home. I was excited when they opened up with a video of that old mom who had her children from a funny house she had to a small, nice, beautiful house. That is what we yearn for as informal dwellers. We are not saying do not build your skyscrapers, build them, but can I afford it? Many of us say affordable housing in cities, but honestly speaking, someone who is pushing a wheelbarrow, someone who is lifting luggage in a market, someone who is selling tomatoes, can that mother afford a skyscraper? Why don't we join hands with this woman and do in situ slum upgrading other than evicting that mom? She has children to pay fees, she has children to raise, she needs to keep her life going, she has a small job in the city, but our job is to bulldoze her out of the city. Humble request to everyone here, kindly support the marginalized communities, kindly hear our voices, kindly take us to your tables and we discuss tangible solutions that favor you governments and favor communities. We are saying, let us plan together, let's co-plan, let's co-invest, and let's co-create the will for the people to own the city together with everyone. I say this for God and my country. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the World Urban Forum opening ceremony now continues with the Leaders' Statements segment. We are honored to welcome distinguished heads of state, heads of government, and high-level representatives. To moderate this distinguished segment, we are honored to invite to the stage the chairman of the State Committee for Urban Planning and Architecture of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Mr. Anar Guliyev. Please join us in welcoming him to the stage and our esteemed leaders as they deliver their statements.
Your Excellencies, heads of states and government, distinguished ministers, esteemed heads of international organizations, honorable mayors, national delegations, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor and privilege to welcome you to Baku at the 13th session of the World Urban Forum. Your distinguished presence today reflects the importance of this meeting and our shared commitment to more inclusive, resilient and sustainable cities for future generations. The World Urban Forum is more than a conference. It is a key platform for advancing global urban policy, strengthening partnerships, and supporting the implementation of the new urban agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals. WUF 13 takes place at a defining moment for the international community, when cities stand at the center of the climate change, housing affordability, migration, infrastructure resilience, and social cohesion. This is why WUF 13 matters. This year's forum marks a historic milestone. For the first time at the World Urban Forum and at the initiative of the Republic of Azerbaijan, a dedicated leaders' session at the level of heads of state and government has been convened. For Azerbaijan, hosting WUF 13 is both a great honor and a profound responsibility. It reflects our commitment to sustainable urban development, to the reconstruction and revitalization of our cities and communities, and to strengthening international cooperation through dialogue and partnerships. Today's leaders' session offers a unique opportunity to shape a common vision for the future of cities and to reinforce global commitment to the implementation of the new urban agenda. We thank you for your presence and wish us all a productive and inspiring session. Now, please allow me to proceed with the program for this session. I would like to invite Their Excellencies, Heads of State and Government to deliver their statements. And I have the honor to invite His Excellency Shavkat Mirziyoyev, President of the Republic of Uzbekistan. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Dear heads of delegations, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the 13th session of the World Urban Forum, a prestigious platform for discussing the most pressing issues of global development. I would like to express my profound gratitude to His Excellency Ilham Aliyev, President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, for the impeccable organization of today's conference in the beautiful city of Baku, the Pearl of Caspian, and for the warm hospitality extended to us. Your Excellency, under your leadership, Azerbaijan is undergoing rapid, large-scale development, especially in the land of Karabakh. In a short space of time, entire cities have been restored in the liberated territories, and new residential complexes and modern infrastructure facilities have been built. Taking this opportunity, I would like to emphasize that Uzbekistan stands ready to make a worthy contribution to such noble endeavors. Distinguished forum participants, the agenda item, housing the world's safe and resilient cities and communities, remains as relevant as ever. According to analysis, around 70% of the world's population will reside in cities by the middle of the 21st century. At the same time, urbanization is exacerbating a number of social problems. Today, almost 3 billion people worldwide lack adequate housing. More than 1 billion of them live in informal settlements and slums, while more than 300 million people have no shelter at all. Climate change, a volatile international situation, and economic crisis are generating new waves of global migration, leading to the redistribution of populations among countries and cities. Put it simply, urbanization is becoming a critical factor that directly impacts global stability and security. All of this requires us to take decisive and urgent actions. Dear friends, the issue of sustainable urban development is of strategic importance to the new Uzbekistan. Over the next 15 years, our country's population is expected to grow from 38 million to 50 million, with the urbanization rates rising from 51% to 65%. We believe this presents a unique opportunity to promote balanced regional development and ensure economic growth. To this end, Uzbekistan, the annual number of housing units under construction has increased tenfold over the last 10 years, reaching 238,000 apartments in the year 2025, and we plan to increase this figure by a further 1.5 times by the year 2030. Approximately $2 billion is allocated annually from the budget for programs to provide the population with affordable housing. A special law was adopted in the year 2024 to address the issue of informal settlements, formalizing documents for around 100,000 residences. The share of residences built through renovation is planned to increase from 15% to 60% to upgrade the outdated housing stock. The National Committee for Urbanization has been established to effectively manage these processes. As part of their such programs as green space and clean air, we have set a goal to increase the level of urban greening to 30% by the year 2030. When it comes to landscaping the cities and improving the population's lifestyle, we place great reliance on Mahalla institution, which is a traditional form of citizen self-governance. Ladies and gentlemen, the new Tashkent mega project, which is designed to accommodate 2 million people, is a vivid example of our urbanization strategy. It fully incorporates the most advanced modern urban planning solutions, including such principles as green, smart, safe, and 15-minute cities. In the first phase alone, we have launched investment projects here valued at over $25 billion. A presentation of the project concept is taking place at the Urban Expo exhibition, which is being held as part of the forum. Most importantly, similar projects are being developed not only in the capital city, but also in all regions of our country as part of the New Uzbekistan Residential Area Initiative. To date, 61 such residential areas have been built, and this number is expected to reach 100 by the year 2030. At this point, I would like to express my gratitude to Ms. Anna Claudia Rosbach, Executive Director of the UN Human Settlements Program, as well as to the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, and other leading financial institutions for their invaluable support in our urbanization and urban planning initiatives. Distinguished forum participants, I would like to put forward a number of proposals and initiatives on the issues being discussed today. First, creating equal living conditions for the population across all regions requires the harmonious development of small and medium-sized cities. In this regard, I call on partner countries to widely implement the principle of balanced urbanization and urban development. Second, it is imperative that all countries have equal access to the opportunities presented by artificial intelligence and digital transformation in urban governance. To this end, I propose establishing an international Smart and Safe Cities Alliance to facilitate the systematic exchange of technologies, standards, and experiences in this field. Third, it is critical to provide young people and vulnerable segments of the population with quality and affordable housing. And to this end, we are prepared to host an international forum in Samarkand city next year to discuss new approaches in financing and investing in housing construction. Fourth, in light of global climate change, there is an increasing urgency to adopt common principles and standards for creating green cities. To encourage the development of cities in harmony with nature, I propose establishing the UN Habitat Green City International Award. Number 5. The rising level of urbanization is further enhancing the role of traditional self-governing structures within cities. In that regard, I propose to hold the 15th session of the World Urban Forum in New Tashkent in the year 2030, with the main theme to be the role of the local communities in the sustainable development of cities. Dear participants of the forum, I am confident that today's event will facilitate the finding of joint solutions to mutually beneficial and promising issues, as well as pave the way for new initiatives and make a significant contribution to the development of the field. In conclusion, I wish the forum great success. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Excellency. I have the honor to invite His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya. Your Excellency, floor is yours.
Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, in 2002, there was the first World Urban Forum held in Nairobi, Kenya. Last month, we held Africa Urban Forum again in Nairobi, Kenya. Today, we have come for the 13th World Urban Forum here in Baku, in this great country, and I want to thank His Excellency President Ilham Aliyev for his welcome and his hospitality extended to us. Excellencies, this is a most consequential forum because of the exigencies of housing in almost every country. Statistics show us that 3 billion people suffer from inadequate housing. 1 billion people live in slums, and 300 million people are homeless. These are not cold statistics. These are not numbers. These are people. These are families. These are children. And that is why this meeting in this great city with a great history is important. Article 25 of the Declaration of Universal Human Rights affirms that housing is a right. And today, as we are in Baku, we have a serious housing challenge globally, and the right under Article 25 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is breached. Let me take this opportunity to give you Kenya's perspective. We have 1,100 informal settlements. We have 7 million people living in these informal settlements. And as a result, we took the decision that it was not tenable, it was not right for us to continue in this trajectory. And therefore, we took the housing program as a central pillar of our development program. And what did we do? 3 things. Number 1, the biggest constraint to housing was availability of land. Number 2, the challenge was cost of construction. And number 3, it was financing housing. How did we solve this problem? Number 1, we made it mandatory that all public land be available for housing without charge, free of charge. That removed 30% of the cost of housing. Number 2, we decided that we are going to reduce the cost of construction. How did we do it? 2 things. Number 1, we negotiated with professionals, architects, quantity surveyors, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, and all the professionals in that space. Because they were building 10, 20 houses a year, we offered them to build 3,000, 4,000 houses a year. They reduced their cost of supervision and cost, professional cost, from 10% of the cost to 2.5% of the cost. Number 2, we also standardized construction sizes, and we standardized construction materials. Doors became the same size, windows became the same size, and all the other construction materials, and therefore it became possible to produce these construction items en masse, and therefore reduce the cost. And number 3, how did we deal with financing? We decided to take one dedicated financing mechanism. We passed the law, established a housing fund, charged a housing levy, and today we have a dedicated funding mechanism financed by locally mobilized resources to build houses. What is the outcome? I will tell you what the outcome is in Kenya. In the last 3 years, we are building 273,000 housing units. 8,000 keys have been handed over. 55,000 keys will be handed over before the end of this year. And we have a pipeline of 700,000 housing units. I can say with confidence that today in Kenya, we have the largest housing program in the continent of Africa. Let me also say the following. We have mobilized, because of our housing fund, we have mobilized $5 billion from local or domestic resources. We haven't borrowed a single shilling from the World Bank. We haven't borrowed a single shilling from any other institution. This is locally developed resources. We have, as a result, employed 640,000 young people, architects, quantity surveyors, masons, carpenters, electricians, and all the other professionals. And we are on the way to hiring 1 million young people in the short term. And number 3, we have begun the journey of reversing slum growth. In fact, in the city of Nairobi, we have started to remove slums, to replace them with decent housing. And number 5, we have reduced land fragmentation. We now have more land to do agriculture because we are consolidating settlements in proper organized cities. I am giving the Kenyan perspective because I heard my sister Sarah from my neighbor country in Uganda. And she made a very fundamental statement. She was just wondering how it is possible for a person in a slum to be able to live in a skyscraper on the 11th floor. Let me tell Sarah, it is possible. We have done it in Kenya. The cost of a social house on the 11th floor is the same as the cost of a slum dwelling house. They used to pay $40. They now pay $40 on the 11th floor because we have set up the mechanism for that to happen. Finally, let me speak to two paradoxes. As I stand here, 25% of the world's population will be living in the African continent by 2050. If there is a place that housing is important and urgent, it is in our continent. Why? Because that is where the world population, a quarter of the world population, will be living. And 70% of that population will be living in urban centers. And therefore, housing becomes a central pillar of how the world will look like in the future. And that is why it is important for this meeting to focus on two items. We have a serious paradox. A continent that has huge resources, that will have the world's largest population, 25% of the world's population by 2050, today cannot access concessional funding to drive its development. Much more important, housing, because today African countries and emerging economies pay 2, 3, 4 times more to access development financing because of elements of risk. We need to correct this paradox, and that is why we have said there is urgent need to reform the international financial architecture so that it is aligned to the needs, the requirements, and the imperatives of the current world. Most of our countries did not exist in 1945 when the Bretton Woods institutions were established. Today, we do not have enough voice, we do not have enough access, and even the paradox is that the countries who need concessional funding the most pay more than the countries who don't need it when they go to the market. That has to be corrected. And that is why we are of the firm position as African countries that we need the reform of the international financial architecture so that it represents the exigencies of the present. And finally, we need to correct another paradox, that 1.5 billion people in the African continent, the largest body of membership of the United Nations, 55 countries from Africa, are not represented at the highest decision-making organ of the United Nations Security Council. And the bigger paradox is that 60% of the agenda of the United Nations Security Council are African issues. What a paradox, that your issues are being discussed on a table that you are not represented. And that is why we are saying, for the survival of the United Nations, there must be reform that corrects this anomaly, that brings justice so that the United Nations and the United Nations Security Council specifically becomes representative, democratic, and brings on board the views of the African continent. That is how we are going to solve the problems of the present and figure out how we are going to have a better future. In Baku, we have the opportunity to influence and to change the cities of the future and make them livable, sustainable, and good for everybody. I thank you.